Welcome to the Nonprofits. In our second segment this week, we look at one of the latest cabinet-level nominees that has a concerning history. Our newest nonprofit, Ejector Seat, is here to tell us all about it. EJ?
So today we have a story from Mother Jones by Isabella Diaz. Russell Vought, head of the Center for Renewing America think tank, was confirmed as the head of the Office of Management and Budget for the United States of America. Today, I want to bring you a look at what this office does, what they're responsible for, and possible ramifications, and of course, a quick background on Vought himself, so we can see who is at the helm of this behemoth. A man with links to Project 2025 and has openly sided with anti-constitutional, anti-human, and even, as evangelical types tend to do, anti-Christian values. This will be a roller coaster, so strap in.
Definitely a roller coaster there. So EJ, so let's set aside for a moment that this person would have the ear of the person in the White House. What other than that, I mean, that's a huge thing right there. But setting that aside, what specifically would fall under his control as director of the OMB?
So as leader of the OMB, the OMB has a critical role in the executive branch overseeing and managing the president's budget. However, the policies and programs of federal agencies, including everything from the Department of Defense to the North American Space Agency, NASA, are also firmly in its wheelhouse. This means that the OMB has a finger in every federal pie, which means any federal work can be defunded or stopped by the OMB or the head of it. This in addition to the federal grants, which can be revised or scrapped based on the OMB's recommendations or direct action. This includes grants for things like low-income housing, food stamps, and many more things millions of Americans rely on to live. A quote from grants.gov goes as follows. The OMB, along with other bodies, has continued to play an important part in interpreting and implementing the laws among the federal government's awarding agencies. Today, current grant policies have been largely shaped by a range of statutes, regulations, executive orders, and guidance.
All right, so it sounds like fingers in lots of pies there, fingers in lots of pies and lots of strict control over that kind of thing. Next, I want to go over down to Helen real quick here. What kind of baggage does Vought himself, what kind of baggage is he bringing to the table?
Oh, there's so much I could talk about.
Please do tell.
Let's just start. Okay, everybody. This is from his Wikipedia page, so I highly encourage all of our wonderful viewers to go look this up. Also, John Oliver on his recent episode of Last Week Tonight also talked about Mr. Vought. Highly recommend that you should do both things because this mofo, oh my God. So, the Center for Renewing America combats CRT, critical race theory, will provide the ideological ammunition to sustain Trump's political movement after his departure from the White House in 2021. So this is something they were planning, when Trump was president and when he left office. In October of 2024, ProPublica reported that Vaught's proposals included plans to reshape the government by using military force against protesters if it deemed necessary. So that goes against our freedom to assemble.
Right.
Defending agencies like the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to reduce federal influence and casting civil servants as obstructive to conservative agendas. His CRA aims to enact an aggressive policy approach, and he talked about this on John Oliver the other night, cutting bureaucracy and focusing on Trump-aligned conservative governance. He stated he would aim for a shadow office of legal counsel. Anything, whenever somebody says shadow,
right? Yeah, that's.
Please be aware that that is not a good thing.
Right.
In July of 2024, Vought spoke candidly to journalists he mistook as conservative donors. I saw this interview. They posed as conservative donors to get him to talk about what his plans are. And the 2-hour interview, he revealed details of his plan to take control over the government through presidential power. He summed up his core belief as Christian nationalism. Please watch this interview. You just go put in Vought journalist interview with, just look it up. It will come up. You need to watch this. It is very important to because this guy's in charge of our budget, everybody.
Right, yeah.
Please be aware. He is a self-described Christian nationalist. Oh my God. Yikes. Yikes. Yikes.
Right, yeah, wearing that as a badge, right on the front, just, you know, proud of it even. That's definitely disturbing there, definitely disturbing. I want to jump back to EJ for a second here. EJ, Helen was talking about some troubling things, obviously, about Russell Vought. Can you add anything to what she said, or can you give us your perspective on his past and his intentions with this newfound power?
Of course, Vought is now heading the OMB, a behemoth of wealth, red tape, and bureaucrats. So let's see how this man wishes to wield the sword he's been given. Mentioned above, he heads a think tank, which are organizations that are usually used to obfuscate donations and heavily push agendas, called the Center for Renewing America. This think tank's mission statement is as follows. Our mission is to renew a consensus of America as a nation under God. Fuck off. With unique interests worthy of defending that flow from its people, institutions, and history, where individuals enjoyment of freedom, is predicated on just laws and healthy communities. Their website also contains quite a large graphic front and center on the homepage saying for God, country, and community, which reminds me of a certain regime from Europe a while ago, and I don't know.
Does ring some bells, I think. Does ring some bells. You know, it's almost as if there's some sort of comparison to be made there.
It escapes me.
Figure. Anyway, sorry.
They make it known that their goals are for an American Christian theocracy and dismantling of organizations like the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, which was put in place, or at least had a lot of power after there were some attacks on the grid, showing how weak America's infrastructure or power infrastructure was through physical and cybersecurity means, you know, which is something we quite need.
Right.
But they also want to get rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB. I'm sure I don't have to explain why that's a bad idea for anyone who isn't a billionaire. Vought has also made comments saying that Trump is sent by God, because apparently the fucker ran out of locusts. However, Vought has also helped co-author Project 2025.
Sorry, I'm just picturing like, so he's the 11th plague is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just imagining little locusts with Vaught's face on all of them. Look at this terrible like CGI.
Wow.
Like,
I just imagined it as I said it.
now.
Okay.
Oh, I don't blame you. Vought also helped co-author Project 2025. How much of it I was unable to ascertain, though, which detailed plans on cutting federal funding by axing things like social welfare, energy solutions, and more, along with defunding for schools and the abolition of subjects which teach inclusivity, diversity, along with a hampering of reproductive rights. You know, could you imagine if there was an agency that could do that managed things like money and budgets? You really shouldn't put them in charge of something like that.
Yeah, no shit. Jeez.
Yeah. However, Trump and the House of Congress have given a man with clearly horrid intentions full control over such an agency, which regulates and controls many federal agencies through policy and money. I wonder how this can go wrong.
We'll just, I suppose we'll just have to ride this one out, right? See, you know, assuming we can continue riding, right? Stephen.
Yeah. Can I ask a question as a Canadian?
Definitely,
here?
Please do.
Like, because I hear that Congress controls the purse strings, and that's why everything that the boys are doing in the White House is really unconstitutional. How does this balance out? We've got this guy who's in charge of money stuff, but also it's Congress who's in charge of money. How does that work?
I think it's Congress is, and I'm definitely not an expert in this area, so this is just my thoughts on it. I think Congress allocates the money, and I think the OMB is in charge of putting that into effect.
If I may,
sir, please do.
while I was researching this, I thought the same thing because I've heard similar things. So as far as I understand it, their whole argument is that the budget is given to them, and how they allocate it is mostly up to them. It's also why Trump wants to do things like get rid of the penny, which is about the only good idea he's had.
So the budget is given to the OMB is acting on behalf of the president. So Congress basically hands the money to the OMB. Is that what you're saying?
As far as I understand it, yes. They give the OMB money, and they they should try to work with what Congress is given. However, evidently, rules that were written before any of us were born haven't taken into account that it could be hijacked.
Okay. Is it something along the lines of like laws? I mean, because Congress makes the laws, and then the executive branch is in charge of executing those laws and enforcing them. Is it kind of a relationship similar to that, or?
Kinda. So with policies, so interagency policies and stuff, a lot of it goes through the executive branch and thus the OMB. They have a general say on stuff like, well, you want to have this policy, we'll allocate so much funding. So they can essentially just strip agencies away by saying, we're going to severely underfund you to where you can't do your job.
Right. All right. Yeah. Thanks. I learned something new today, EJ. I do want to jump over to Stephen here real quick. I want to get your opinion on this as a Canadian. I want you to lend us your Canadian eyes here. I mean, how does this look from up north? What's your take on this?
It's wild. It's weird. It's strange. Like I am very. It makes me really cognizant of the fact that I have never had to worry about like things like social welfare and healthcare being jeopardized because of the religious beliefs that influence one given political party. Like it's just so hard baked into our structure, into our systems, that of course we're going to have healthcare. Of course we're going to be looking out for the social well-being of people. That isn't up for grabs. That isn't on the table to be negotiated with. It isn't a chip that can be anteed up to get what someone wants. So it's wild, and it makes me really appreciate. Like here in our system, we have multiple parties that run for a federal office. And since the year 2000, 8 of our years have been controlled by a minority government. That means that one of the political parties has gotten the most votes, but they haven't gotten the majority of the votes. So if they want to get anything done, if they want to get a majority, they have to work with other parties. They have to get other people on board. They have to be making their coalitions. And there's no chance under a minority government for one party to make all the rules and snowplow their way through what the other parties are representing, what they're wanting. And it just makes me really grateful that we have a system that allows for that kind of diversity, and then shakes up the ability for one party to be the ruling party. And in some cases, it's not in every case. We had a conservative government for a great number of years, and that was a majority. And that's something that we all fear now. Sorry, that's what a lot of.
So you're saying there's advantages to having a multi-party system, right? It's so that way, like if it's one-on-one, it's always going to be kind of lopsided, one side over the other one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and like that, and especially as an outsider, like that's all that I see when I look towards the South at the system there. It's always like a 49-51% split, and especially in recent years, it's always going to be, okay, well, we're going to either completely stop you from doing anything that you want to do, or we're just going to do exactly what we want to do, and you be damned. And it's weird and disheartening.
Interesting. Well, we're fortunate enough today to have 2 non-Americans on our panel today. So Stephen, as we mentioned, is Canadian, and Ejector Seat is from Scotland. And so EJ, I would like to hear, as someone from Europe, a part of the world that has kind of been through the whole fascism, authoritarianism thing before. I mean, what's your take on this?
So, first of all, I've seen marches in America, where openly fascist groups feel free to march, and I am horrified at that. In Europe, the last time we allowed fascists to march, we marched them to the gallows. It's not fair on Americans to allow horrible people like this to be out, like, in public and saying that their agendas, which usually involve the deaths of millions, if not hundreds of millions, is completely fine to do, and that they feel comfortable doing it with the current government. And I'm sorry that you all have to go through this. Europe and many other nations will always stand against the fight of fascism. We've been through it. We know we know how to help.
Right.
We're not going to let America fall to an eliteness we thought we got rid of in 45. There's already political machinations at work inside America and outside of it, working to put a stop to this in any way we can. Keep your chin up. This can't last forever.
That does. That is kind of reassuring, actually. I mean, knowing that, the world has our back, kind of, or at least much of the world has our back. That is very reassuring. I do want to jump down to Helen now here. Down, I say down on my screen. They're all vertical.
I'm up here. Hi.
All right. So over here, over this way, over to Helen here. So in the previous section, I asked whether or not the new regime in Washington was merely giving lip service to religion, or if it really did take religious perspective seriously. Now let's flip that. Do you think Russell Vought is hitching his cart to this particular wagon merely out of convenience? Or do you think their ideologies align? Do you think Vought is in alignment with the current regime, or do you think that it's just my enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation?
I mean, he was part of Project 2025 that is like uber religious. And like, this is the thing about like this whole governmental structure. I don't know where the grift ends and the belief begins. I don't know, because you can be a very conservative, want all the power to go to the executive branch and not buy into the religious crap, or the religious crap aligns with your politics. I don't know anymore. I honestly do not know, because we've obviously with Trump, who by definition reminds me of the Antichrist if you've read Revelation. So that's happening. But a lot of Christians think that he is their, embodiment of their Lord and Savior. So again, I don't know anymore. And and at this point, I don't think it fucking matters. I honestly don't think it matters. This dude is terrible. The fact that he wants all the power to go to the executive branch, which is a real problem because that goes against our Constitution and the whole way that we set up our country, that we do not have a monarchy. We do not have a king. We don't have a theocracy. We don't have a God-given rights king. That is very important to point out. And I think it's very concerning when we're looking at this from that lens. And as EJ pointed out, they've been through this. They've been through these people that think they are given God-given powers, or they're like super special boys and, they get to have all the power, and it usually blows up in their face, which gives me hope, because fascism does not last. It never does. It never ever does. And I'm sorry, people. Like, this is what we're facing right now. And though the reason why it does not last, because the rest of us stand up to it. And we say like, nope, sorry, that's not a thing. And Voight wants to be part of that regime because he thinks this, even if he is not a religious person, his politics align with Project 25, because guess what? He helped write it.
Right. Okay. So it was like you wash my back, or you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of thing.
Yeah, because bigots stick together.
Right.
I'm sorry, they stick together, and he wants an authoritarian government. I've watched him. I've watched this interview people. He's in it to win it.
Okay. All right. EJ, did you want to add something onto what Helen was saying there?
Yes, just on the Revelations prophecy, it says that there will be a false Messiah who comes and tricks most Christians, and they will wear his brand on their forehead. And I've never said a Bible prophecy is right, but fuck me if there's one.
I'm just saying.
Maybe that's the evidence we need, right? That's the evidence we've been waiting for. There is a God, and he's a fucker, right?
I'm gonna use that when I debate theists now. I'll be like, actually, your prophecy is true. Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna use it now.
All right, I have one more question, and I'll direct this one to Stephen first. So, is this one nomination and confirmation? Is this the result of a democratic process? If not, how is it not? But if it is, shouldn't we respect that? I mean, as people that support democracy and that want to see democracy prevail in the world, if this is a democratically the process here, right? The confirmation process, the nomination process, and all that kind of thing. Are we actually by talking against this nominee, or actually he's not a nominee anymore, he's a cabinet member. By talking against this, are we poo-pooing the whole democratic process or what?
Well, yeah, you've got 45 in office there. That was allegedly democratic. Yeah, like the system is broken, absolutely, but it's a system of defunding and not prioritizing education that I think has really played a big role in allowing people to be manipulated and brought to this place. So is it democratic? Yeah. Is it broken? Yeah. It doesn't need to improve? Yeah. How many people have to die before that happens? Time will tell.
Right. Well, I think that's an excellent point to end at right there. That's a very poignant thought to bring up. And so I think we'll just stop there. So I want to thank all of you for being on the panel with me here. I want to thank all of you for watching us. And if you want to see some more nonprofits, then just click on these links.